Okay, for number 1, again, real quick, open up a set of parentheses. In order to get x squared, since we don't have a coefficient, x times x. Look at your factors for 6. 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Notice when you put the numbers 1 and 6 together, you'll get 7, or you'll get 5 if you subtract them. So that's the number 5. That's one we're looking for, 5. The second set, 2 and 3, when you put them together, are going to give you 5, or they're going to give you 1. So again, both of those are possible pairs of factors. You have to now look to the signs. The sign in front of the C value, or the second sign, plus, tells us that we have to combine them. That plus tells us that they have to be the same sign. We have to combine them. So if you look at 1 and 6, when you combine those, you get the number 7. When you combine a -1 and a -6, you get the number -7. That's not the number 5. We're still looking for the number 5. When you combine 2 and 3, you're going to get 5. When you combine a -2 and a -3, you'll get a -5. The combination part tells us that we're going to get to the number 5. So 2 and 3. So we have x and 2 and x and 3. This sign, again, since it's positive, tells us that they're going to be the same. It's either going to be +2 +3 or -2 -3. You have to look now, once you know that, to the first sign, the one that is in front of the b value. It's plus, and since they're both the same, they're both plus. So x plus 2, x plus 3. Open up your set of parentheses for number 2. Number 2 is a little bit easier because you don't have 2 different ones to work from. X times x gives you x squared since there's no coefficient. Your factors of 5 are 1 times 5, so you have to use the numbers 1 and 5. This sign tells you that the signs have to be the same, either plus plus or minus minus. This one tells you since they're the same, they're both plus. Open a set of parentheses. X times x gives you x squared. There's only one set of factors for 2. It's 2 times 1. So you have to use the numbers 1 and 2. This sign tells us that they're both the same sign, plus plus or minus minus. Since they're both the same, this one tells us they're both plus. For number 4, open yourself a set of parentheses. In order to get x squared, x times x. Your factors of 2, again, are only 1 times 2, so you have to use the numbers 1 and 2. Again, you factor in the C term, this one. That's how we're getting a 2. The second sign, this one here, the one in front of the C, is plus. That means anytime you have plus, that means they're the same sign. They're either going to be both plus plus or minus minus. Once you know they're the same, look to the first sign, the one in front of the B. It's negative or it's minus. That means they're both going to be minus. X minus 1, x minus 2. Number 5, open a parentheses, or 2 sets, I should say. X times x, the only way to get x squared. Your factors of 12, there's more than one here. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. You have to choose from one of those pairs. When you combine 1 and 12, you're going to get 13 or 11. When you combine 2 and 6, you're going to get 8 or 5. When you combine 3 and 4, you're going to get 7 or 1. None of those work except 3 and 4. You get to the number 7 because we're trying to find the number 7. So 3 and 4. Now we have to determine, is it plus or minus, or how many of each of them we got. The second sign, plus, tells us they're the same, so we're either going to have plus plus or minus minus. The first sign tells us they're both minus. So x minus 3 times x minus 4. Number 6, open up 2 sets of parentheses. X times x gives you x squared. Your factors of 6 are 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. So just like the first one, like number 1 we have 2 possible answers because both of those sets will get you to the number 5. We're trying to get to 5. So we have to decide. This plus tells us that we have to combine the numbers. There's not going to be any subtracting going on. So in order to combine 1 and 6, you're going to get 7. If you combine -1 and -6, you'll get -7. So we're not getting to the number 5. So you have to use the numbers 2 and 3. Again, this plus tells us that they're going to be the same sign. This sign tells us since they're the same, they're both negative. X minus 2 times x minus 3. If you write this the other way, notice the only thing that changed was the 2 and the 3. The minuses are still the same and the x's are still the same. It's still correct. There's nothing wrong with writing in the opposite order if you just put 3 before 2. Number 7, open up yourself a set of parentheses. X times x gets you x squared. The only factors of 2 are 1 and 2, so we have to use that, 1 and 2. This sign tells you now what's different between the first 6 and this one. Now we have a negative sign there. All the rest of them had a positive there. Negative means they will be different signs. Since they're different signs, you look to the first sign. It's negative. You put a negative in front of the larger number. So you have a 1 and you have a 2. 2 is larger. This sign tells you it's negative. So 2 is negative. They're different, which means 1 is positive. X plus 1 times x minus 2. Open up a set of parentheses for 8. X times x gives you x squared. Your factors of 12 again are 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. Which one of those, when you combine them, will give you the number 4? Because that's the number you're looking for, 4. 1 and 12 is either going to give you 13 or it's going to give you 11. That's not 4. 2 and 6 is either going to give you 4 or it's going to give you 8, so that's possible. And 3 and 4 is either going to give you 7 or 1. So 2 and 6 are the only ones that work. 2 and 6. Notice we hadn't put a sign in there yet. You look at the second sign, the one that's in front of the C term, it's negative. Remember, that means different signs, one positive, one negative. The first sign, the one in front of the B value, tells you the larger number has a negative in front of it. 6 is larger than 2. 6 gets the negative. They're different, so 2 gets the positive. X plus 2 times x minus 6. Open up 2 sets of parentheses again. I keep saying a set, but just 2 sets. X times x gives you x squared. Notice we're starting like that every time. We'll get to some coefficients in front of that x eventually. Your factors of 8, 1 times 8 and 2 times 4. Which one of those sets will get you to the number 2? 1 and 8 will only give you 7 or 9, so that's not going to work. 2 and 4 is either going to give you 6 or it's going to give you 2. So your numbers are 2 and 4. This sign, the one in front of the C value, is negative. Remember, that means they're going to be different signs. This sign tells us since they're different, the larger value gets a negative in front of it. So 4 is larger than 2, it gets a negative. They're different, so 2 gets a positive. X plus 2 times x minus 4. The only difference between what we've been doing in this up till this point and now 10, 11, and 12 is instead of just factoring them, now they say equals 0. Other than that, you treat it the exact same way. You open up 2 sets of parentheses, and we'll get to the equals 0 part in just a second. X times x is x squared. Your factors of 15 are 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. So which one of those sets, when you combine them, gets you to the number 8? 1 and 15 is either going to be 16 or it's going to be 14. So that's not 8. So we have to use the numbers 3 and 5. The second sign, the one in front of the C, is plus. That means same sign. Remember, plus means same sign. Since they're both the same, this one tells you they're both positive, the first sign. X plus 3 times x plus 5. Now we'll bring the other part down. Equals 0. The only thing you have to do at this point, since it equals 0, is set whatever's inside the parentheses. X plus 3 equals 0. Or x plus 5 equals 0. Get rid of plus 3 on both sides by subtracting 3. So x equals negative 3. Or subtract 5 on both sides, x equals negative 5. So -3 or -5. Do the same thing with number 11. Open up yourself a couple sets of parentheses. X times X. You know the factors of 12. 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. You have to choose from those pairs to see what gets you to the number 8. 1 and 12 is either going to give you 13 or 11. 2 and 6 is either going to give you 8 or 4. And 3 and 4 is either going to give you 7 or 1. So the only one that works is 2 and 6. This sign tells you they're both the same sign, either plus plus or minus minus. Since they're both the same, this one tells you they're both minus. -2, -6. Bring the other part down, equals 0. And set it up as x minus 2 equals 0 or x minus 6 equals 0. Notice the only thing I'm doing is taking what's in the parentheses and setting it equal to 0 for both of them. That says -2. Undo that by adding 2 to both sides, and you get x equals 2. Or, same thing with get rid of -6 by adding it, x equals 6. And then for the last one, open up yourself a couple sets of parentheses one more time. X times x gives you x squared. Your factors are 4, 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. Which one of those pairs will get you to 3 when you combine them? 1 and 4 will either be 5 or 3. 2 and 2 will either be 4 or 0. So it has to be 1 and 4. This sign, remember, you look at the one in front of the C value first, tells you that they're, instead of being the same sign now, this one tells you they're going to be different signs. This one tells you the larger number is plus. So 4 is larger than 1. 4 gets the plus. 1 gets the minus. They're different. Equals 0, so set them as x minus 1 equals 0, or x plus 4 equals 0. Get rid of -1 by adding it on both sides, x equals 1, or get rid of plus 4 on both sides by subtracting it, x equals -4.